Hello everyone and welcome back to another new album video. We're now on week 24 and this week we're taking a look at Formentera II by Metric. First released October 13th, 2023. Some notable tracks off this album include Detour Up, Just the Once, Days of Oblivion, and Nothing is Perfect. I actually picked this album up a while ago on vinyl, and for some reason just never got around to listening to it. Like kind of like it came out like during like a really busy time for like me at like my job and stuff. So just didn't get around to listening to it. And then finally was like just looking for some new stuff to listen to, and I'm like, hey, I have that new Metric album. I should probably check it out. The vinyl is still sealed, but I ended up listening to it recently on Apple Music and really enjoyed it. But yeah, I picked up the vinyl here. This is like again, like I said, still sealed. Formentera II by Metric. There we have that. Again, still sealed. I'll probably open that at some point. But for some reason, just never really got around to listening to it. I really enjoyed the prior album, Formentera, the first one, or Formentera, yeah. So this is kind of like a direct like sequel or like sister album to that, I imagine. But Formentera was really good, and I actually think this one here is actually better than that one. I don't know where I would necessarily place the album in my overall like Metric rankings. I still think probably Fantasies, just based on the track list, is probably my favorite because it has just some iconic tracks on it. I've seen differing opinions on some of Metric's like newer stuff versus older stuff. I've seen, some ranking list where like Live It Out, which I really love Live It Out, is ranked really lowly or really low, while an album that I didn't necessarily love, like Synthetic, is ranked much higher. So I kind of need to go through all the albums and actually see where I rank them. But right now, I would probably say this is kind of in the middle. It's definitely better than something like Pagans in Vegas, which is probably my least favorite album from them. Has a couple solid tracks, but overall, I think Pagans in Vegas wasn't great. But then the one the follow-up to that one, I think, was Art of Doubt, which is one of their best. That's a 2018 one. But I definitely need to kind of like think after listening to this album, figure out what my Metric rankings are. Because I've listened to all of them. I own all of them on vinyl. I own some of Emily Haynes' or one of Emily Haynes' solo records. I think it's Knives Don't Have Your Back, Emily Haynes and Soft Skeleton. She did another one called Choir of the Mind, which I don't have, which I still need to probably pick up. But I have some notes here about the album. We're going to go through this, and then we're going to get to the track list and all that kind of stuff. So again, October 13th, 2023. This is their 9th studio album. There wasn't a lot of. I read some decent reviews about it, and like the only review I have here, or the score, is a 79 on Metacritic. So overall, not incredibly high, but also not low either. 79, I think, is pretty decent. Like Pitchfork, I think, had it at like a 7. A bunch of other reviewers had it like around like 80, so like Metacritic being like an aggregate, that 80, like 79, 80 seems about average, or like 7 out of 10, that kind of thing, or 7.9, whatever you want to call it. Overall, really enjoyed it. It's a kind of a shorter album. It's like maybe like 40 minutes, but I definitely appreciate when bands and artists don't try to just like artificially like inflate the runtime by including like a ton of tracks that probably should have been left off or should have been maybe turned into B-sides or something like that. So there is something to be said about a shorter album where all the tracks are really good and you don't have a lot of filler. I think this is one of those albums. Let's see here. Like I said, they started working on this album, and I imagine working on the previous one during the onset of the pandemic. So it was kind of like 2020, because like 2022 is when the first Formentera album came out, and then 2023 is when this one was released. I didn't see them on their most recent tour. I was just busy and wasn't able to go get like I was like doing something else that day, I think. But I've seen Metric 3 times as a main act and once as an opening act. So first time I saw them was in 2016. And I think myself, and I think a lot of other fans of Metric now, became fans mostly because of Scott Pilgrim. Like, I hadn't heard of Metric until they did Black Sheep on the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack. And then I remember in Rock Band 3, Combat Maybe was featured on that game as well. So 2010 is kind of when my, like, me becoming a Metric fan kind of started. So, like, even though they had been around for like 7 years prior to that, because I think Old World Underground was like a 2003 release. And then like something like I think it was that, and then Live It Out, and then Grow Up and Blow Away, which I think was actually recorded first. Grow Up and Blow Away is one of my favorite albums from them. It's more stripped back because I don't think they had like their full like band yet. It was basically just Emily and James, I think, for the most part, doing stuff on their own because it's really the production is a lot simpler. There's like not as many instruments on that album. But I think a lot of us became fans in like 2010. But anyway, my first Metric concert was in 2016. Saw them there. A few years later, saw them again in 2019. And then most recently, actually not most recently, after that, I saw them for the Formentera tour, which was toward the end of 2022. And then most recently, I saw them last summer as they were an opening act for Noel Gallagher and Garbage during that tour. So seen them a total of 4 times, 3 times as like a main act and once as an opening act. But we're going to now get into our track listing on this album. This album, like I said earlier, is a little on the shorter side, but like I said, there's something to be said about just an album that you can easily listen to and like digest and not have to listen to like in like multiple hours. So like I listened to one album last week that was a really good album. I may do it on this series since I've never heard it before. I'm not going to say what it is just in case I end up doing it. But listen to it. It's like an hour and 47 minutes long. Incredible album, but definitely like a time investment to get into. This one here, little under basically just under 40 minutes. 9 tracks. We're going to go through them here right now. So track 1 is Detour Up. Track 2 is Just the Once. I think that was the first single they released for it. So they announced the album like in like the summer of 2023, and then that single was basically attached to that announcement. It's like, hey, we got a new album coming out. Here's a song off of it. And Just the Once is really good. One of the better songs on the album as well. That's track 2. Track 3 is Stone Window. Track 4 is Days of Oblivion. Track 5 is Who Would You Be for Me? Track 6 is Suckers. Track 7 is Nothing. Sorry, track 7 is Nothing Is Perfect. Track 8 is Descendants, and track 9 is Go Ahead and Cry. Like again, 39 minutes and like 50. What's this thing here? 39 minutes 58 seconds. So just under 40 minutes. And again, that matches the track list on the back here of the vinyl, which I still need to actually give a spin to. I haven't, like I said, this didn't get around to actually getting that to the turntable yet. But Formentera II, a very strong entry from them. I think slightly better than the previous. Like Formentera was really good. I think this one's even better. Like it has, I don't remember what the actual like length on Formentera was. Let me actually just bring that up. Let me just Formentera metric. Let me just bring up the track list. Not the track list, but the album here. That one comes in at 47 minutes, so a little bit longer, but it also has a 10-minute long track on it called Doom Scroller. Doom Scroller is really good, but I definitely like that they kind of went with shorter tracks on this one slightly, and like I said, 39 minutes is like the perfect length of like an album for me because I can actually very easily just listen to that while like commuting to work or something like that. But very solid entry from Metric. That is going to wrap it up for this video. We'll be back again next week with a whole new album. Don't know exactly what that's going to be just yet. Some of these I don't really plan that far out. So sometimes I'll just listen to an album one day and be like, that's a really good album. That's this week's video. So that's what happened here. So I ended up listening to it very recently and pick the album that way. So like next week, I have some ideas of what I might want to do, but it's always kind of up in the air. But again, that's going to do for now. So thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.